All right, get ready because today we are really going deep on India's Namami Gange program.
Oh, yeah.
You sent over this
It's a big one.
this annual report of NMCG for the FY 2022-23, and
Yeah.
wow, they are really serious about cleaning up the Ganges River.
It's massive.
Yeah.
It really is. We're not just talking about like a cleanup effort.
Yeah.
This is about revitalizing a river that is so important to India's cultural and spiritual identity.
Yeah, okay, so just imagine the Ganges, this river that's so sacred, it's practically worshipped, but it's also really polluted.
Yeah.
So in 2014, the Indian government launched this program, Namami Gange, and they gave it a massive budget,
Yeah.
20,000 crore rupees.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough.
Well,
They supersized it
they did.
to Namami Gange II and added another 22,500 crore rupees.
Wow.
That is serious commitment.
Yeah, it really shows how dedicated they are to this whole project.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. What they're trying to do is not just make the water cleaner.
Right.
They're going for a complete ecosystem restoration.
So it's way more than just pipes and filters.
Oh, absolutely. The Namami Gange has three main pillars. Narmal Ganga, that focuses on the pollution. A viral Ganga, making sure the river flows well. And then there's Yan Ganga, the river people connect.
Oh, I like that one.
Because you can't solve this problem without the people who live along the Ganges.
Yan Ganga, I love it. So you can build all the fancy treatment plants you want, but if people aren't on board,
Exactly.
it's not going to work.
Nope.
But wait, there's even more.
Yeah.
Right, they've got these extra focus areas on top of that.
Yes, they do. You've got Ganga, all about research and knowledge sharing.
Okay.
And Arth Ganga, which aims to develop a Ganga-centric economy.
So they're really trying to cover all the bases.
Yeah, they're looking at it from every angle.
So let's get to the details.
Okay.
How are they actually cleaning up this mess? This river has been polluted for decades.
Well, for sewage treatment, they've got two approaches.
Okay.
You've got the big centralized STPs, sewage treatment plants, often built with private companies. Those are great for the big cities, but they're expensive and need a lot of infrastructure.
So what about the smaller towns and villages?
Right.
They can't all have these mega plants.
Well, that's where decentralized STPs come in.
Okay.
They're smaller, more localized, perfect for those areas.
Got it.
So it's like a tailored approach to sewage treatment.
So they're using the right tool for the right job.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But now here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
They're using this thing called the hybrid annuity model, or ANAM, for these STPs.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that to me like I'm 5.
Okay, so imagine you're building a house
Okay.
and you don't pay the contractor everything up front.
Right.
You pay some now and then spread out the rest of the payments over 15 years.
Okay.
But only if they do a good job maintaining the house.
Okay.
That's kind of how ATAM works.
Oh, so it's not just like build it and forget it.
Right.
There's an incentive to make sure these plants actually work and keep working. Clever. But sewage isn't the only problem, right? What about the industrial waste being dumped in the river?
Yeah, that's a major issue, and they're going after it head on.
Yeah.
They've identified these grossly polluting industries, or GPIs, and they're making them clean up their act.
I bet that's not easy.
No, it's not.
But okay, let's say they clean up the existing pollution.
Mm-hmm.
What about keeping the river healthy in the long run?
Right.
Isn't that where Averil Ganga comes in? The uninterrupted flow?
Exactly. Maintaining a good flow is crucial for the river's health.
Yeah.
Think of it like our circulatory system.
Okay.
It helps to naturally dilute the pollutants, supports the life in the water, really keeps the whole ecosystem functioning.
It's like the lifeblood of the entire river basin.
It is.
But how do you ensure a healthy flow? Wouldn't that depend on rainfall and all sorts of natural factors?
Well, in 2018, they did something pretty amazing.
Okay.
They issued this notification, a legal notification,
Wow.
setting the minimum flow requirements for the Ganges. So there's always enough water flowing even when it's dry.
Wow. So they actually made it a law.
Yeah,
That's a pretty big deal.
it is a big step.
But wait, there's more,
Right.
right?
There's always more.
They're not just focused on the water itself, but they're trying to bring back the wildlife that calls the Ganges home.
Yeah, absolutely. They're working with organizations like the Wildlife Institute of India and the Turtle Survival Alliance
Oh, wow.
to protect that aquatic biodiversity.
Okay.
They've got breeding programs for endangered species like gharials.
What are those?
Those are the long-snouted
Oh,
crocodiles.
cool.
Alligators. And they're even bringing back hilsafish,
Oh, wow.
which are super important for the river's ecosystem
Yeah.
and are a delicious food source for people living there.
So they're literally bringing the river back to life.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're cleaning the water, ensuring a healthy flow, bringing back the wildlife. But what about the people? How are they factoring in the millions who depend on the Ganges for their living?
Well, that's where this great initiative called Arth Ganga comes in.
Okay.
They're not just cleaning the river, they're trying to build a whole economy around it.
Wait, an economy based on a clean river? Tell me more.
So they're focusing on 6 areas.
Yeah.
One is zero-budget natural farming.
Okay.
This helps farmers to not use chemical fertilizers that pollute the river.
Okay.
Another is monetizing the treated wastewater and sludge.
So they're turning waste into a resource.
Exactly.
So interesting.
And of course, there's sustainable tourism and cultural heritage stuff.
So it's about creating a win-win.
Yes.
Where the river's health is directly linked to the economic well-being of the people who live there.
Exactly.
That's brilliant. But how do you get millions of people on board with a project this big? It seems impossible.
Well, it is a huge project, but what's amazing is how many people are involved.
Yeah.
They have these volunteers, Ganga Dutes, Ganga Praharas, Ganga Mitras,
Wow, that's a lot.
all working to raise awareness, clean up their parts of the river. They are like guardians of the Ganges.
It's like a whole army of river protectors.
Yeah,
They're
right.
really tapping into people power.
And they're making it fun.
Okay.
They have events like Ganga Utsav and Yamunagat Par Yamunotsav.
Wow.
These are festivals celebrating the rivers.
I love that. So instead of just lecturing people about pollution, they're making it a fun
Yes.
community effort.
The celebration.
I love that. But let's be honest. India can't do this alone, right? They need international support.
You're right. The report mentions working with the World Bank, JIANG, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, and even the European Union, bringing in expertise and funding from all over the world.
That makes sense. A problem this big needs a global effort.
It does.
But what I find so cool is they're not just using old methods.
No.
They're exploring some cutting-edge technology.
Oh, yeah. They're looking into things like EM technology from Japan.
Oh, cool.
It uses microorganisms to clean the wastewater in a sustainable way.
Microorganisms eating pollution.
Yeah.
That's wild. What else?
They're also trying out Jukasu technology. This is a decentralized wastewater treatment system, also from Japan. And get this, they're using LiDAR technology.
Isn't that the stuff they use to map rainforests?
Yeah, that's it. They're using it to create super detailed maps of the whole Ganga basin.
Wow, so they're like taking an X-ray of the entire river system?
That's a good way to put it.
That's incredible.
It helps them to really target pollution hotspots, figure out the flow patterns,
Yeah.
and plan infrastructure way better. And they're even working with Patanjali, the consumer goods company,
Ooh.
to study all the different plants along the banks of the river.
So they're leaving no stone unturned.
No, they're not.
It's amazing how they're combining the old traditions with cutting-edge science.
It's really impressive.
But with so much going on, how do they keep track of it all? This is a massive operation.
Well, that's where their monitoring and transparency systems come in.
Oh.
They've got this incredible tool called the NMCG's Project Monitoring Tool, or PMT.
What is that?
It's basically a giant online dashboard that tracks all their projects in real time.
Oh, wow.
They can see exactly what's happening, where the money is going.
So it's like mission control for the whole Ganga cleanup operation.
Exactly. And to make sure the data is right, they've got a whole team of data people checking everything.
Oh, so they're not just collecting data.
All right.
They're making sure it's good quality data.
Absolutely garbage in, garbage out.
Right. But they're not just relying on typing data in by hand, are they?
Nope. They're using mobile apps so people out in the field can put data in directly.
Oh, that's cool.
So if a team's inspecting a new treatment plant, they can input their findings right there.
Okay.
And it goes straight to the PMT.
So no delays or mistakes.
Right. Instant updates.
Wow, that's like having a constant pulse on the entire program.
It is.
But the PMT tracks the projects. How do they actually monitor the river's health? I mean, that's the whole point, clean water.
Right. Well, that's where some of the more technical stuff comes in, like SCADA systems.
SCADA.
They've got these installed at their sewage and effluent treatment plants.
SCADA, what does that even stand for?
SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition.
Oh, okay.
It's a network of sensors, controllers, and software that monitors the treatment plant.
So it's like a super smart system, making sure everything's working right.
Exactly. It's like a watchdog for the whole treatment process.
Okay.
And the best part, it's all in real time.
Oh, wow.
So if something's wrong, the system triggers an alarm and they can fix it right away.
So they're not waiting for some lab report.
No.
They know instantly.
Exactly.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's like having a finger on the pulse of the treatment plant 24/7.
But what about the river itself? Are they only checking the water coming out of the plant?
Oh, they're checking everything.
Okay.
They've got this platform called Ganga II.
What's that?
It's for real-time water quality monitoring.
Okay.
It collects data from all these monitoring stations along the river.
So it's like a constant stream of info on the river's health.
Yes, exactly.
But with all that data, how do they know it's accurate? What if a sensor breaks or something?
That's where the data guardians come in.
Who are they?
Well, their official title is the Data Qualification Services Consultant, or DQSC.
Okay.
They're the ones who make sure the data from those monitoring stations is good.
So they're like the data police?
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure nobody's messing with the numbers.
That's good to know. So what are they finding out? Is the water actually getting cleaner?
Well, the report looked at 97 monitoring locations in 2022,
Okay.
and the results are promising. The water quality was good enough for bathing.
Really?
Yeah, at all 97 locations.
So people can actually swim in the Ganges now without getting sick?
It's looking that way.
That's progress.
It is. Of course, it's not perfect. Some areas are still struggling with things like too much bacteria.
So some areas are doing better than others.
Yeah, it's a process.
But the important thing is they're keeping track
Yes.
and figuring out what needs more work.
Exactly. And they're using that data to change their plans if they need to.
It's like they're constantly adjusting the recipe to bake the perfect clean Ganga cake.
I like that analogy.
But water quality isn't the only thing they're looking at, right? They're also doing this thing called biomonitoring.
Oh, yeah. Biomonitoring is cool. They use living things to check on the river.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, they study these tiny creatures that live on the riverbed.
Okay.
And just by seeing if they're there or not, it tells you a lot about how healthy the ecosystem is.
So they've got these little underwater detectives working for them.
That's a good way to put it.
I like it. And the report mentions that they're mapping all the plants and animals that live around the Ganges, too.
Yeah, they're working hard to protect all that biodiversity.
So it's not just about clean water. It's about a whole healthy ecosystem.
Absolutely. They're working with groups like the Wildlife Institute of India to map the species,
Okay.
figure out which areas need protection,
Right.
and fix up the habitats that are damaged.
So they're not just protecting what's there. They're trying to bring back what's been lost.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it is.
We've talked a lot about the technical side, the monitoring, the data, the technology.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back to the people. Remember Ganga, that river people connect?
Oh, yes.
What are they doing to get local communities involved?
Well, Ganga is all about empowering people to take care of the river themselves.
Mm-hmm.
One of their best initiatives is the Ganga Prahari program.
Those are the volunteer river guardians, right?
Exactly. They recruit people from the local communities to become the eyes and ears of the river.
Oh, wow.
They educate people, organize cleanup events, watch out for pollution.
So they're like the local heroes of the cleanup mission.
Yeah, and they've got other volunteer programs too, like Ganga Doots and Ganga Mitras.
It's amazing how many people they've got involved, but it's not just volunteers, right? They're also working with organizations.
Yes, they have district Ganga committees, or DGCs, in each district along the river.
What do those do?
They bring together government folks, community people, and experts
Okay.
to make sure the cleanup efforts are working for everyone.
So it's like a mini Ganga task force in every district.
Yeah, you could say that.
But they're not stopping there, are they? The report says they're working with schools, religious groups, even companies.
Yeah, they're trying to get everybody involved.
It's like they're weaving Ganga conservation into the whole fabric of society.
That's a good way to put it.
But let's be real, cleaning up a river as big and important as the Ganges is not something India can do on its own. They need global help.
They do, and they're getting it. They're working with the World Bank, GAC, and the European Union. It's not just money and technology either.
Yeah.
They're talking to experts, sharing what's working and what's not.
So it's a two-way street. They're learning from others, but also sharing what they've learned.
Absolutely. They're becoming leaders in river restoration.
It's great to see India taking such a big role in global environmental protection.
It is inspiring.
Okay, we've talked about a lot. The monitoring systems, the data, the community engagement, the global partnerships. Namami Gange is clearly massive, and they're using everything they can to make it happen.
They're not afraid to try new things and work with anyone who can help.
It's really impressive to see how dedicated they are.
It is.
And how willing they are to try new things and work together.
They're setting a new standard for how to restore a river.
But let's not forget, it's not just about the tech and the money.
Right.
It's about changing how people think and feel about the river.
Absolutely.
That's where Ganga is so important. They're not just cleaning up the Ganges, they're reminding people why it matters.
Yes. They want people to feel connected to the river again.
And to take part in taking care of it.
Exactly. It's a great example of how protecting the environment can also help people and the economy.
All right, we've explored the data, the technology, and the people power behind this ambitious program. But what about the results on the ground? What are they actually doing to make a difference?
That's what we're going to talk about next time.
So stay tuned, because we are going to dive even deeper into how they're monitoring the river's health and using all this amazing tech to bring the Ganges back to life.
It's going to be fascinating.
It is. Okay, so we've seen this Namami Gange program is massive, with billions of rupees going into cleaning up the Ganges. But how do we know it's actually working? How do they keep track of all these projects and all that money?
That's the question, isn't it? You need to be transparent and accountable with a project this big.
Yeah.
Remember the Clean Ganga Fund? That big piggy bank for the Ganges?
Right.
They have a really strong system to track every rupee.
Okay.
And make sure it's only used for things that help the river. No funny business.
So nobody's running off with a bag of cash to build a swimming pool?
Nope. They have auditors and rules to make sure everything's done right.
Eh.
And speaking of keeping track, remember the project monitoring tool, that PMT?
Yeah, that big online dashboard that tracks everything in real time.
That's it. It's like mission control for the whole thing.
It sounds amazing, but how do they make sure the information in that system is accurate? It's a lot of data.
Well, they have a whole team of data experts who are checking and double-checking everything.
Okay.
They've even taken their old data systems and put them all together into the PMT.
So it's like merging all the spreadsheets into one big document.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes things so much easier.
So it's not just about collecting data, it's about making sure it's good data.
Absolutely. Garbage in, garbage out.
Right. But they're not just typing everything in by hand, are they?
No way. They're using mobile apps.
Oh, cool.
So people out in the field can input data directly.
So like if a team is inspecting a new treatment plant,
Yeah.
they can enter their findings right on the spot.
Exactly. And it goes straight to the PMT.
No waiting or mistakes.
No, instant updates.
That's like having a live feed of the entire program.
It is.
Okay, so the PMT keeps track of the projects, but how are they monitoring the actual river health? That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Clean water.
Right. Well, they're using some more technical stuff like SCADA systems.
SCADA.
Yeah, they've got these installed at all the treatment plants.
SCADA. That sounds familiar. What is that again?
It stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition.
Okay.
Basically, it's a bunch of sensors and software that monitors the whole treatment process.
So it's like a super smart control system, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Exactly. It's like a watchdog, always watching.
Okay.
And the best part is it's all real time.
Oh, wow.
So if something's wrong, like the water flow drops or pollution spikes, the system sends an alarm and they can fix it right then.
So they're not waiting around for lab results?
Nope. They know immediately.
That's incredible.
It's like having a finger on the pulse of the plant all the time.
But what about the river itself? Are they only checking the water at the plants?
Oh, no, they're checking the whole river.
Okay, good.
They use this platform called Ganga Terang.
Ganga Terang.
Yeah. It's specifically for monitoring water quality.
Okay.
It gathers data from all these monitoring stations along the river.
So it's like a constant stream of data on how healthy the river is.
That's
amazing. But how do they know all that data is right? What if a sensor is wrong?
That's where their data guardians come in.
Data guardians.
They call them the Data Qualification Services Consultant.
Okay.
Or DQSC for short.
Okay.
They're the ones who make sure the data from the monitoring stations is accurate.
So like data police making sure nobody's cheating.
That's one way to put it.
Okay, I like that. So are they finding that the water is getting cleaner?
Well, they looked at data from 97 spots along the river in 2022.
Okay.
And the results are actually good.
Yeah.
At all 97 locations, the water was clean enough for swimming.
Really?
Yeah. They tested for things like pH and oxygen levels.
So people can actually swim in the Ganges again?
It seems so.
Wow, that's progress.
It is. Of course, it's not perfect yet. Some areas still have problems.
Like what?
Things like bacteria levels being too high.
So some parts of the river are cleaner than others.
Exactly. It's a process.
But the important thing is they're watching it closely.
Yes. And they're figuring out what needs to be done.
And they're using the data to adjust their plans.
Exactly.
So it's like they're constantly tweaking the recipe to get that perfect, clean Ganga water.
That's a good way to think about it.
But they're not just looking at water quality numbers, right? They're also doing this biomonitoring thing.
Ah, yes. Biomonitoring is fascinating.
Tell me more.
They use living things to tell them how healthy the river is.
Okay, how does that work?
For example, they study these tiny little creatures that live on the bottom of the river.
Uh-huh.
And just by seeing if those creatures are there or not,
Yeah.
they can tell how healthy the whole ecosystem is.
It's like they've got tiny little river detectives working for them.
I like that.
And the report says they're mapping all the plants and animals that live around the Ganges.
Oh, yeah. They're doing a lot to protect the biodiversity.
So it's not just about clean water, it's about a whole healthy ecosystem.
Exactly. They're working with groups like the Wildlife Institute of India to figure out which plants and animals are where
Okay.
and which areas need to be protected. They're even working to restore habitats that have been damaged.
So they're not just protecting what's there, they're actively trying to bring back what's been lost.
That's right.
That's great.
It is.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the technical side of things. The monitoring, the data, the technology. But let's get back to the people. What about Ganga, the river people connect?
Oh, yes. Ganga.
How are they getting local communities involved in all this?
Well, Ganga is all about giving people the power to take care of the river themselves. One of their best programs is the Ganga Prahari program.
Those are the volunteer river guardians we talked about before, right?
Yes. They train people from the local communities to be the eyes and ears of the river.
What do they do?
They do all sorts of things. They educate people about the river. They organize cleanup events. They watch out for pollution. And they even act as a link between the community and the government.
Oh, wow. So they're like the local heroes of this whole cleanup mission.
That's a good way to put it. And they've got other volunteer programs, too, like Ganga Dudes and Ganga Mitras.
Wow, they've really got a lot of people involved.
Yeah.
But it's not just volunteers, right? They're working with local governments and organizations, too.
Yes. In each district along the river, they have these district Ganga committees.
Okay.
Or DGCs for short.
What do those do?
They bring together people from the government, the community, and experts
Okay.
to coordinate the cleanup efforts at the local level.
So it's like they have a mini Ganga task force in every district.
Exactly. It helps make sure that everyone's needs are being met.
That's really smart. And the report mentions that they're working with schools, too, and religious groups, even companies.
Oh, yeah. They're trying to get everyone involved.
It's like they're making Ganga conservation a part of everyday life.
That's the goal.
But let's be honest, cleaning up a river as big and as important as the Ganges is not something India can do alone.
You're right. They need help from other countries.
Exactly. And it looks like they're getting it. They're working with the World Bank, JCA, and the European Union.
They are.
And it's not just about money and technology.
Right.
They're sharing knowledge and experience with experts from around the world. So they're learning from others, but also teaching others what they've learned.
Exactly. It's a two-way street.
It's really impressive to see India taking the lead in this global effort to protect our rivers.
It is inspiring.
Okay, we've covered a lot here. The monitoring systems, the data, how they're involving communities.
That's a lot to take in.
It is, but it's clear that Namami Gange is a huge effort, and they're using everything they can to clean up the Ganges.
They're really committed to it, and they're willing to try anything that might work.
It's inspiring to see how dedicated they are.
It is. They're setting an example for the rest of the world.
But we can't forget that it's not just about the technology or the money.
Right.
It's about changing how people think and feel about the river.
Exactly. They want to reconnect people to the Ganges. Remind them how important it is to their culture and their lives.
And get them excited about being part of this cleanup effort.
It's a beautiful thing to see. It shows how protecting the environment can also bring people together.
All right, we've learned about the data, the tech, and the people power behind this amazing program. But how is all this actually playing out on the ground? What are they doing to make a real difference?
That's a great question, and that's what we're going to explore next.
So stay tuned, because we're going to dive even deeper into the nitty-gritty details of how they're bringing the Ganges back to life.
It's going to be fascinating.
Okay, we're back and ready to get into the details of what's happening on the ground to clean up the Ganges. We've talked about the big plans, the cool technology, and all the people involved.
Yeah, now we're getting to the actual work.
Exactly. Where are they digging and building and planting to bring the Ganges back to life?
It's like seeing the plans turn into action.
So let's start with the sewage problem. The report talks about two kinds of treatment plants, centralized and decentralized. Is it a case of one size fits all?
No, not at all. It's more about choosing the right tool for the job.
Okay.
Centralized STPs, those big treatment plants, those are perfect for cities with lots of people, like Delhi or Kolkata.
Right.
They can handle huge amounts of wastewater.
Makes sense, but what about those smaller towns and villages along the Ganges?
Right, they wouldn't need those huge plants. That's where decentralized STPs come in.
Okay.
They're smaller, more adaptable,
Mm-hmm.
and they can be designed to fit the specific needs of each community.
So it's like a custom-made solution for each town.
Yeah. The report talks about some great examples in Haridwar and Rishikesh, right on the river,
Okay.
where these systems are doing a great job of cleaning the water.
So they're stopping pollution before it even gets to the river.
Exactly.
That's awesome. But even with these treatment plants, wouldn't there still be some sewage leaking into the Ganges?
Well, that's where I&D comes in. The interception and diversion.
What's that?
Basically, these projects intercept the sewage from different places,
Where?
homes, factories, drains,
Okay.
and redirect it to the treatment plants.
So it's like a safety net to catch all that wastewater.
Yeah, good analogy.
Yeah.
The report mentions a big I&D project in Prayagraj.
Oh, yeah.
They're working on 8 really polluted drains.
So they're cleaning up that old pollution that's been building up for years.
Exactly. But what's even cooler is how they're focusing on the river's natural defenses.
What do you mean?
Things like wetlands. They're putting a lot of work into protecting and restoring wetlands.
Wetlands, why are those so important?
Think of wetlands as the kidneys of the river.
Okay.
They clean the water, and they're home to all kinds of plants and animals.
So by taking care of wetlands, they're not just cleaning the water, but making the whole ecosystem healthier.
Exactly. There's a project in Uttar Pradesh that's managing the Gangetic floodplains.
Oh, wow.
Those are really important wetlands.
Okay.
And they're also fixing up the Udwal Lake Bird Sanctuary in Sharkan.
So it's this mix of engineering solutions and using nature itself.
Yeah, it's a really smart approach.
But let's not forget the people. Cleaning up the Ganges isn't just about the environment. It's about the communities who live there. What are they doing to make the river a better place for people?
Well, they have these riverfront development projects.
What are those?
They're making the riverbanks into nice places for people to be.
Okay.
They're building things like ghats, parks, walkways, even cultural centers.
So they're not just cleaning the water, they're making the river a place where people can enjoy themselves.
Exactly. The report talks about some amazing projects in Patna, Sahibganj, and Kolkata.
Yeah.
And these projects aren't just about making things look pretty.
Right.
They're also designed to improve sanitation and reduce pollution.
So it's like a triple win. A cleaner river, a nicer waterfront, and healthier people.
Exactly.
That's awesome. But what about people in the countryside along the Ganges? Are they being included too?
Yes, definitely. Remember Arth Ganga?
Yeah.
The program to build a Ganga-centric economy. Well, part of that is about creating jobs and opportunities in those rural areas.
Okay.
Things like ecotourism, river cruises,
Oh, cool.
and selling local handicrafts and products.
So it's about helping the local economy while also protecting the river.
Exactly. Imagine taking a boat trip down a clean stretch of the river
Yeah.
and stopping in villages to buy handmade crafts directly from the people who made them.
That sounds amazing. It's a really inspiring vision for the future of the Ganges.
It is.
A river that's not just clean, but also helps the people who live there to thrive.
Yeah, and thanks to all the work being done through Namami Gange, that vision is becoming a reality.
We've learned so much about the Namami Gange program in this deep dive.
It's a really impressive undertaking.
It is. Cleaning up the Ganges is a huge challenge, but what's amazing is how committed the Indian government is.
Yeah.
They're really dedicated to this, and they're coming up with some really innovative solutions.
And they're doing a great job of involving the communities who live along the river.
Exactly. It's a real testament to what can be achieved when people work together.
It shows how much we can accomplish when we put our minds to it.
And the Namami Gange program isn't just about saving a river.
Right.
It's about reconnecting people with nature and finding new ways to protect our planet.
And it's a story that can inspire us all.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Namami Gange program.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you learned something new and that you feel as inspired as we do by the incredible work that's being done to revitalize this amazing river